Welcome to Attention Now podcast, where we dive deep in with leaders, warriors, and game changers who live with purpose and make make an impact on life. And today's guest is someone who absolutely embodies that spirit. Ty, brother, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you here, man.
Thank you so much for having me on, Dave. I'm so excited and happy to be here today.
And I'm grateful that Hiram introduced us. As I mentioned earlier, I think we're going to have a long relationship and be able to talk and help each other and help others, more importantly, down the road, which is awesome. If I could do a quick intro and whatever you want to add after that, that would be great. Let me do that real fast. Ty Smith, U.S. Navy SEAL, entrepreneur, and national security expert. Ty retired from the Navy with over 20 years of service and is a decorated Special Forces veteran, operations veteran. Ty has led elite teams on high-stakes missions around the globe, including multiple combat deployments in the Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia. His operational expertise includes counterterrorism, intelligence gathering, and crisis response in some of the world's most complex environment. After retiring from the Navy, Ty transitioned his leadership experience into the private sector. He's the founder and CEO of ComSafe AI, a technology company that uses AI to prevent workplace violence and protects organizations from internal threats. Ty works bridging gaps between national security strategies and modern corporate risk management. All right, Ty, what else would you like to add? I'm not going to read all this. You got a lot of other stuff on here.
No, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. The only thing I will say is that, I think it's fortunate. I never deployed to Africa or to Asia. All
Okay,
of my combat deployments were to the Middle East, which is
Middle East.
exactly
Okay.
where I want it to be because that's where the action was. So the other thing that I'll add is what I'm doing now. I was sharing with you beforehand that ComSafe is actually in the middle of an M&A transaction, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But I've transitioned into spending most of my professional time as an executive coach, helping other people to grow the way that I've been helped to grow and to achieve their dreams the way that I've been taught how to go after and achieve my dreams. So I'm having a lot of fun with that, actually.
Awesome, awesome. We're gonna ask a little bit more about that so people could dive in and connect with you during the podcast. So thank you. Let's start off. Ty, where did you grow up?
I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, on the Illinois-Missouri border, just on the east side of the Mississippi River.
Okay, gotcha. And you didn't wind up staying here, obviously.
No, 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 no. Um, I like you live in Chicago, you get it. I love Illinois. I will always be a boy from Illinois, but when I was growing up in East St. Louis, I didn't have the easiest upbringing.
Okay,
I had a good life because I had like I'm trying to think of the right word to describe my family. It's something beyond special,
okay.
right? And so I had a good life growing up. I was surrounded and filled with love and light. But I always knew in my heart that, man, there's got to be there's more out there in the world. There's got to be something out there waiting for me outside of East St. Louis. And even though I wasn't the smartest kid growing up, I was very observative and I could look around at my surroundings, at some of the people. And it was kind of like I could see the writing on the wall. It's like, hey, man, is that what you want to look like and feel like and operate like when you are 30 years old? Right? Or do you want to see if there's something else you can find and advance your life? And so I was like, yeah, where's the Navy recruiter? Sign me up.
So did you do that when you were in high school?
I did. I think 2 or 3 months before I was graduating high school, I had enlisted. And so I was just waiting to graduate and get through the summer, and I was out of there.
Nice. And what inspired you to sign up with the Navy?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I watched the movie Navy SEAL starring
Okay.
Charlie Sheen,
Yep.
and that is what got me. I fell in love with what I saw those men doing on the television screen, and I knew in my heart that it's what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Nice. So when you went to the recruiter, you told them I want to be a SEAL?
Absolutely, like this I won't say dumb, but this younger, uninformed, 17, 18-year-old kid
Right.
Absolutely. I'm like, hey man, I want to be a Navy SEAL. He's like, can you swim? I was like, I think so. You know? And so old Chuck, my Navy recruiter, he got me signed up for the Navy, and the rest of it I pretty much had to figure out on my own. He didn't give me orders to budge right away, but he got me in the Navy, and I am immensely grateful for that. And I found my own way into the SEAL teams.
And how did you do that when you were in? And after a year or a couple years, or how
Yeah,
slow did
so
you get there?
actually, yes and no. So after being in the Navy for about a year and some change,
Okay.
because I was immediately injected into the air crewman pipeline. And so after boot camp, I went to Pensacola, Florida, and I did the air crewman candidate school, search and rescue swimmer school, and air crewman anti-submarine warfare school.
Okay.
And I hated it. I hated being an AW, anti-submarine warfare. As I was going through the training, I was like, hey, this is not what I joined the Navy to do. I don't even like school. This is a lot of schooling, I don't know if people understand it, but you got to be really smart to be in anti-submarine warfare, right? And I was like, this isn't what I signed up for. And so
This is not
toward
what
the end of
Charlie Sheen was doing.
this is not what Charles Sheen was doing when I was watching this movie, right? And so when I was about to graduate from that pipeline, and I did finish the pipeline, but as I was graduating, I made a big fuss about me not wanting to go to an aircrew squadron. I wanted to go to budge training. And so ultimately, they let me go. And I checked into budge training for the first time as an 18-year-old. I think it was 1997.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it was sometime in early
And who did you
1997.
talk to in the Navy to make sure that they did that? Because you said they made a big
So
fuss.
when I was down in Pensacola, Florida, finishing up the air crewman pipeline, I forget who introduced me to him, but I was introduced to a gentleman by the name of BM1 Troutman, who
Oh,
was the
nice.
SEAL motivator down there at the base in Pensacola, Florida. And ultimately, he got me a package completed and got me accepted and worked with me and a couple of other guys to get in shape and get ready for training. And so he did a great job at that. And I was in shape and ready for training when I got there. I was ready as far as I was in really, really, really good shape. And I was a tough, strong kid and I was healthy. I didn't have any injuries, but I was still a kid and I
Right.
wasn't ready at
Mindset
all in
wasn't
my
there yet.
brain.
Yeah.
Mindset wasn't there, heart wasn't there. And so I made it into about a day, I think, day and a half of Hell Week, and I quit. And it wasn't, I wasn't cold, I wasn't hungry, I wasn't tired, I was just scared.
Right.
I've told people before I got there, and I was just like, what in the world did I get myself into? I've never even seen men like this,
Right.
outside of a television. So I've certainly never felt energy like this. Like, who are these guys, right?
Right.
And I
A
thought I
big
knew a
culture
lot
shock.
about,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I thought I knew a lot about, hey, this is what Navy SEAls are like. I've watched every movie, I've read every book, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, man, you got to be
Yeah.
there. You got to experience it. And so I got scared and I ran. And I ended up taking orders to the Navy Police Academy down in San Antonio, Texas. And then I took orders immediately to Sardinia, Italy, where I had a phenomenal time. I was supposed to stay there for 2 years.
Okay.
Then I was going to go back to Budge training, but I was having the time of my life, and I ended up staying there for almost 5 years
Wow.
before I got back to Budge
I
training.
don't blame you. I would have done the same.
It was phenomenal. It was as
I can't
dreamy
even
as you can.
imagine being a duty station there. Holy cow. That's awesome. Uh, finish your thought. I'm sorry. I didn't want to ask you.
Well, no, yeah, and I don't want to be long-winded because I'm probably answering questions that you already have written down, but I ended up staying in Sardinia, Italy for about 4.5, almost 5 years. And I ended up getting orders to go back to Budge training because that was always the plan was to go back.
Right.
And I try to spare you the long story, but after 9/11, the Navy career counselor at the command was like, hey, are you in shape? Because I got orders for you to go back to Buds
Oh,
immediately if you're
wow.
ready. And I'm like, yeah, I'll start packing. And so I
Nice.
ended up going back to Buds in February of 2002, a few
Okay.
months after the towers fell. And successfully navigated the pipeline and took orders to SEAL Team 8, my first SEAL team.
Wow. So that's an incredible story. I love that you actually were, in Italy for 5 years. So did obviously your mindset and heart changed from that, right?
Tremendously. I mean, I was going to get out of the Navy and stay in Italy. In fact, yeah, I had to sign an extension
Okay.
when my career counselor brought me those orders to go to Budge training because I was getting out of the Navy and I was just going to stay in Italy. I was applying to the University of Rome.
Oh wow.
Italian had become my second language. I was fluent. I was the base translator.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
being an Italian had become my life. All of my friends were Italians. I worked primarily with the Italian Carabinieri, their military police, as the liaison between our MPs and their MPs. It was great. I had a
Wow.
dream life, and I was a kid. You know
Wow.
what I mean? But I was in an airplane flying into New York City on September 11th, 2001.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
glory be to God, I wasn't on one of the four planes that crashed.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. And so when I got back to my command after they reopened the airspace after about 2 or 3 weeks, and I had orders to go back to Budge training,
You said, yeah.
whether I could acknowledge it or not, that was God saying, okay, this is your time. Like, hey, man, everything's about to change. I hope you're ready. This is what you asked for. Just so happens, this is what I have written in your story. This is
Wow.
who you are. And now you're about to get what you asked for. But brace yourself. Everything's about to change. And it
Wow.
did.
That's amazing. And we'll talk a little bit more about this in the podcast as well. But it's amazing when God has a plan for you, right? And you have your own plan. Guess what? It doesn't always work. So it's interesting that you followed his plan. That's awesome. And not interesting. It's awesome that you followed his plan. Uh, what was the most valuable lesson you learned when you were serving?
That is a great question. I think the most valuable lesson that I learned is that it's not about me.
Yes.
It's not about me. It's about the men and women to your left and your right. It's about learning how to wake up in the morning and go, God, please show me who I can help today. Please show me who I can serve today. And it's not the person that I'm looking at in the mirror. In the mirror, the military does a really good job, especially, and listen, I don't know much about the regular military. I know a lot about the special operations community because that's
Right.
where I spent 3 quarters of my time serving. But the SEAL teams in general does a very, very, very good job of at least trying to teach you to, hey, you got to kill your ego. It's not about you. Yeah, it's just not. It's about everyone to your left and your right. This is a SEAL team, and you have teammates. It is not about you, it is about them. And that lesson has it served me in so many ways in my life that I can't even begin to tell you. It's serving me now, given the season that I'm transitioning out of in my life and the season that I've transitioned into. It showed me that, hey man, that's actually everything. However long this season of your life is going to last, this season of your life revolves around you understanding that it is not about you. Nothing is about you. It is all about the people surrounding you. And by the way, you're connected to every single one of them, whether you know them or not, whether you've ever seen them or not. You're connected to every single one of them. So, clock is ticking, figure it out.
Yeah, I love that, and I'm glad that you're able to do that because a lot of other operators that I've met in the past are still stuck in their own head. It's like, hey, I'm the man, I'm a special forces guy. This is my life, and and pretty much it's all about them, right? So I love that you're saying, hey, it's about us serving, and just like we were talking earlier, it's about serving, and showing people about God's word, so they could actually have a better life as well. So thank you for that. What was the hardest challenge while you were serving?
Hmm. Well, and I want to answer this as accurately as I possibly can. The hardest challenge while I was serving humanity, I think, was my hardest challenge,
Hmm.
was maintaining my humanity.
Okay.
And I think that's a big umbrella that encompasses a lot. There's a lot underneath that umbrella. But some of the more important drops of rain that are under that umbrella are, or falling from the top of that umbrella, I should say, are not losing my faith in God. Not, well, I should say, not permanently and totally losing my faith in God, not permanently and totally losing my faith in human beings, and not, at least not going through with destroying myself as a result of the things that I was experiencing and
Right.
ultimately how they would make me feel.
Okay. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I think you said that in another podcast as well. You had a little girl that affected you when you were in battle, and I had another operator say, same thing. And it's like, you know what? And people, it's like, hey, why did you let my, spouse die, or why are you letting all this bad stuff that happened? It's like, God, why are you doing this? But it's not the people, it's the evil around us, right? That's making it happen. So I think if you're able to get your head around that a little bit more and understand, it's like, hey, it's not these people, it's evil, and we're still in a battle. We're in a battle every day now, right? So
Absolutely. And I like to talk about that a lot. There is the seen and there is the unseen.
right,
And there is a lot more happening in the unseen, a lot more, like a lot more than what we can actually hear and see happening in the seen, right? There is a spiritual war happening right now for
yeah,
your soul, for my soul, the souls of my loved ones. It's anyway, that's a very long story, but yeah, I think you're absolutely on the right path.
awesome, thank you. And this it reminded me we didn't talk much about your family when you were growing up. Can you tell us a little bit about what your family life was like at home before joining?
Yes, for the most part, I was growing up the son of a lady cop. My mom was a retired 27-year police officer in
Oh,
East St.
wow,
Louis.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I was the oldest of five kids,
Okay.
being raised by this single lady. Um, I had, fortunately, I still have nine aunts.
Oh my
I,
goodness.
yeah,
Holy cow.
I had,
What happened to those days when everybody had all these big families, right?
right. I know it was the best.
Yeah,
It was the best, Dave. I'm telling like my family is again, it's beyond special. They are so amazing, and I love them, and they love me so much. I was the oldest boy, right? Of all of
right.
the cousins, I was the oldest boy coming up, and um, I don't know if that's why, but for some reason, like all of my aunts were always just like in love with me. I was their baby. I wasn't their nephew, but I was their baby growing up, and it was incredible. I had four uncles. Um, Unfortunately, three of them have passed, and one of my uncles is still around. And he's actually my uncle by marriage, my uncle Kelvin, aka my uncle Poochie, um, who actually had the greatest impact on my life growing up. I had so many cousins
Oh my gosh, that's
that
awesome,
it,
isn't
it
it?
was
Yeah.
it was so awesome. But in my again in my generation, most of them were girls, and it was
Okay.
myself and my cousin Greg in that generation. We were the boys, and we were as thick as thieves, right? We were best friends growing up, and again, his mom was like my mom, right? And we were just inseparable. So I had a great family, but my family was the typical Midwest family growing up in an economically challenged community in that like hey we didn't really have anything else so we didn't have a choice but to focus on loving one another
Right.
and trying to be servant leaders within our family and within our community, and that's what we did. um, but my family was they are tremendous. They're absolutely the reason why I have grown to become the person that I am today. My grandparents were my best friends in the whole world on both my paternal and maternal side. My
Wow.
grandparents were the best human beings I've ever met in my life, and they set the best examples of human beings for me that I have ever experienced in my life. Um, yeah, I'll stop there. I don't want to
No,
get
that's awesome.
emotional.
I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were that good.
I had a big family too, and had cousins we used to hang out with every weekend. And it's like family back then was totally different. Is your mom still around?
Fortunately, my mom is still around. She is where you are. She's back home in Illinois with the rest
Okay.
of my folks. It's about time for me to get my behind back to Illinois to come and, recenter and recharge the chi so that I can spend some time around the folks. But my biological father is former Marine. He is down in Norfolk, Virginia. He
Okay.
and I never really had a relationship, but I know where he is. I make sure that he's taken care of. He's in a skilled nursing facility just
Okay.
because he wasn't taking care of himself and had a stroke several years ago, but he's doing okay. But for the most part, everybody is back home in
Wow.
Illinois.
That's awesome for your mom. That was such a leader, and be able to be able to carry the torch for your family. That's awesome. So thank you, Mrs. Ty.
Thank you. Yeah, she's
That's all.
awesome.
That's awesome, and I think that's that's another thing. I mean, you mentioned about families. It seems like many years ago, families didn't break apart, right? I think that's a strategy of evil and the enemy right now as well, to
Absolutely.
break families apart, right? So you don't have, I mean, just the joy that you had, and you brought joy back to me because I remembered the times when I used to do the same thing, right? Hang out with our families, do stuff every weekend. And I came from middle income, so we didn't have a lot of money either, but we always had fun, right? We always had fun. We spent time together, and you know, why do you think what's the difference from back then to now, where people just say, hey, you know what, this marriage isn't working out, I'm done.
That's a great question. In short, I think that it's one of the greatest gifts, or I should say two of the greatest gifts that we receive from God all day, every day, and especially by way of our family,
Yes.
provision and protection,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And the devil doesn't like that because if you're being provided for by your family and by way of God, you're being protected by your family and by way of God, Satan can't get to you,
Right.
or he has
Right.
a much harder time getting to you, right? But if he can pull you away from your tribe
Be an
so that you
individual.
no longer, exactly, he can make you believe that actually your power isn't being an individual. So now you no longer have that provision and that protection from your tribe. And they are teaching, and my family taught us about God and surrounded us with God. Again, we didn't have much else,
Right.
right? But if that's what he can do is separate you from, and remember, and I don't know how deep you want to go on this, Dave, but God is in every single one of us. The
Right.
kingdom of God is right in the center of our hearts, right? That's why Jesus made the sacrifice that he did and said, don't worry, I'm going to send y'all a helper. When I give myself, I'm going to cover you in my blood, and I'm going to send the Holy Spirit to live in your hearts so that you have provision and protection no matter what. I don't care if you're standing alone in the valley of darkness by yourself, you will not be afraid because I am there with you. So we get that from every single one of our family members. If we open ourselves up and allow ourselves, you and I are getting it from one another right now,
Right.
right? If
100%.
we
Yep.
open up and allow ourselves to do that. And so Satan wants to pull you out of that community and put you over here and trick you into thinking that you're this badass individual and you can do it all on your own because he's like, now I got you. Now I'm going to control your life instead of you allowing God's will to be done in your life. Because the individual can come up with all kinds of stories in their mind about how they're supposed to live their life every day.
Right.
But when you come from a good God fearing family, you take that individual and put him back over here, and you start going sideways. and you got an uncle that snatches you up by your collar,
Yeah.
right? He's like,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
what are you
It's like, what,
doing?
what do you think you're doing?
Like,
Right.
what are you
Yeah.
doing? And he's not doing that to be mean. He's doing
Right.
that because he loves you, right? Because that's what God does. It goes like, hey, I'm gonna let you go down that path as long as you want, but you're my son and I love you, so I'm not. Nope, come over here. I'm not. I just can't. I'm not gonna let you fall flat on your face. You're my son. I love you. I'm not gonna do that. That's what your family does for you. That's what my family did for me,
Right.
and that's why
Absolutely.
I am the person that I am today. And so, yeah, man, I things are changing, and you see a lot of individualism being pushed in not just American society, but all over the world, really. But I think it's worse right here in America.
Yeah, well, it's being promoted a lot, right? You have a lot of the media, you
Absolutely.
have a lot of people saying you have all these
Mm,
rights, whatever. And when you were just speaking right now, the story of Jesus when he was in the wilderness, and the devil came up to him and said, "Hey, you could have everything you want. You just got to bow down to me," right? I think a lot of people are
yep.
falling for that trap. It's like you could have anything you want, right? You're
Hmm.
successful, you're good looking, yada yada yada. Just do what you want. But I think if you stick to God's principles over your principles, you're always going to be way ahead of the game. I met a couple. I can't even remember when I met them. If it was a cafeteria or older couple, it's like, hey, how'd you guys succeed in your marriage? It's like, you know what? We never quit. We never quit. A lot of people fall for the trap saying, "Hey, guess what? Yeah, you're not happy. You could leave. I don't love that person anymore." They go, "We went through that. We didn't love each other for many years, but guess what? It comes back, right?" So I think if you're honoring God, per your marriage commitments, and what is it, sickness and well, how's it going? And I
In
can't even
sickness
remember.
and in health.
Yeah, exactly. No matter what, you stick together. So I think that's awesome. Thank you for that. But yeah, I think just to kind of circle back, I think that's what we need to do to keep families together and be not separate us from the love of God. So thank you. All right. So you worked all over the globe and did missions in Afghanistan, you said?
Afghanistan, Iraq,
Okay. Which one stands out to you the most?
Afghanistan.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about one of your missions?
Sure. Well, give me some more context that you're looking for, because
Yeah,
I've run
just
a lot of missions, Dave. So,
a mission that sticks out to you that comes to your mind the most, that you think of the most. It's like, wow, I can't believe that we did that, or man, that was incredible, or something
yeah,
something in your mind. Yeah,
sure. So,
I'm sure you have one you go to
gosh,
all the time.
man, there are a few that I go to all the time. And I've learned to go to those because I'm really learning to, like, we got to police our thoughts, right?
Right,
We have to have a conversation with ourselves all day, every day, so that you can stay in charge of, hey, am I going to focus on negative and create negative frequency and energy and vibration around myself so that that's what I get back from the universe? Or am I going to focus on the positive so
right,
that I get positive effects back from the universe? Again, how strong is my faith that God's will is good for me and he'll take even the bad and turn it into something good for me? And
right,
so I try to focus on the positive. And I know in the past, when I would think about some of these situations, it would be easy for me to kind of go and sit in the negative and go, gosh, why did I have to go through that? Or why did I have to witness that? That really, really hurt. But now I'm in a season of my life where I'm going, okay, yep, God, I'm not saying it doesn't hurt because it did. You knew that was going to hurt me, but you also knew I was going to learn something from it and that I would be better tomorrow as a result
right.
of learning from that. And so that's where I try to focus now. And if I think of one operation that stands out more than any operation in my career, and why it stands out, it would have to be I have to go back to the summer of 2014.
Okay,
I was a platoon chief at SEAL Team One, and I was with my boys in the Tangi Valley of Afghanistan. We were in Logar Province, Baraki Barak District, Afghanistan. And I think we were about halfway through this deployment. We had ended up, I think we were deployed for about 4.5, 5 months, and we are about halfway through it. And one morning, early morning, we stepped off on an operation to basically go. We knew we were going to kick the hornet's nest. We had found the Taliban HQ in the middle of this town that was pretty close to where our combat outpost was.
Oh, wow.
And we decided that, for our reasons, and for reasons that were supported by the overall objectives of the Special Operations Task Force in the southeast of Afghanistan, that, hey, we're going to go kick the hornet's nest. No, we are going to march right into the middle of their headquarters, and we're going to start a fight, and we're going to get it on. And we're
Nice.
going to throw down in broad daylight. Like,
Oh,
no, 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 no. We're going to take away our secret weapons, right? Because we own the night. We're going to put our night vision in our
that's what I was
backpack,
just thinking. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You guys want to blow up American convoys on Route Georgia? We don't like that. We're very angry. We're coming to your house, right? And we're going to kick in your front door, and we are throwing down. And so that was a concept of operations that my officer in charge and I wrote. And the Special Operations Task Force commander approved it because
Wow.
he had faith in us. And so that's exactly what we did. And we went to, and I won't say the actual village that we
Yeah.
went to, but we went there and we got in a massive fight. One of those fights that, even during this part of the fight, it was like, okay, like this is a movie I'm living. None of this can be real, what I'm seeing right now. And what I'm witnessing my friends doing. None of this is the stuff that I was 12 years old watching guys do this on
I was
television.
gonna say
Now,
this is Charlie
you know,
Sheen. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm watching my friends do these amazing and courageous and brave and superhuman things. And I'm so proud. And this is so incredible. Yeehaw, I'm having the time of my life. It was one of those kinds of missions. But there's duality in everything, right? So the
Right.
flip side of that coin was that day was probably also the most afraid I've ever been in my life.
Okay.
Not afraid for me, but afraid for my brothers, the
Right.
guys to my left and
Exactly.
my right, these dudes that I love more than anything in the whole world, right? And so, long story short, we completed the mission.
Okay.
We went into the Taliban's HQ, and we whipped the ever loving you know what out of them. Um, Gosh, I think we Winchester an AC-130 gunship that day.
Oh, wow.
They had nothing left to drop. They were, you guys are on your own. Good luck. Try to get up as fast as we can, but it's going to be a while. And at the end of that operation, once I got all of my boys back to our set point where our vehicles were staged, it was such a gnarly gunfight. And there were so many bombs that we dropped on the battlefield that day that all of the American forces at FOB Shank, Forward Operating Base Shank, which was the main FOB in the area, and that's where the SOTIF was, they could hear our gunfight because it was only like 10 kilometers from them.
Oh, wow.
And
Holy cow.
they could see the aircraft up in the air, they could see the birds engaging. They could hear us in this massive gunfight. Of course, the task force is listening to all of our communications. They know what we're going through. Um, and so once we got back to the set point, the SOTF commander, called us up on the radio, myself and my OIC, and said, "Hey, I need you guys. No, do not go back to Cop Barak yet. Come over here, Fob Shank. I need y'all to debrief me and the command
Debriefing. Yeah.
master chief on this operation." And so we did that. And remember, it's still broad daylight. And so as the afternoon's going on, and we wrapped up our debrief with our leadership, I was getting concerned that, hey, we're going to have to drive Route Georgia back to, our combat outpost at Baraki Barak. It's about a 10.5 kilometer drive. There's only one way in, one way out of the Tangi Valley, and that is Route Georgia. There is only one way in
Yeah.
and one way out,
That's not good. Yeah.
right? You already know where I'm going with that,
Yep.
right? You're a Marine.
Yep.
And so also, it was still daylight. So even if I wanted to use our secret weapon of owning the night, I can't.
Right.
So as the person that's in charge tactically, I'm like, I don't like this, sir. We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here right now.
Right.
Right. Because even though we own the night, I don't want a vehicle convoy that is on defense because you're just sitting in vehicles driving on Route Georgia, one way in, one way out at nighttime. I bet we're going to get ambushed. I'd rather it be during the daytime because we're stuck on a road and we got vehicles and a partner force and on and on and on. And so we get on the radio. I'm like, hey, boys, let's go. We got to get out of here. We got to hit the road. For some reason, okay, I'll share it because it is pretty funny.
Okay.
Uh, my boys were having a hard time getting a full head count and getting us loaded up so that we could get out of there.
Okay.
Dudes were running around taking care of stuff. Guys are over here trying to re up on rockets for us to take back to our combat outposts with us. Some guys were over here trying to make sure that we had enough food that was being delivered to the combat outposts. Dudes were doing their jobs, but at the end, even those guys got loaded up, but there was still another fire team that was unaccounted for, four
Oh
dudes.
no.
And I'm losing my what because I'm on the radio like, hey, where are they? Like, let's go. We have to go. I
Right.
don't want the sun setting while we are in those vehicles on Route Georgia. Where's my LPO? Dude, you better get a full head count. Let's go. We're going now. And ultimately, dudes are scrambling and they get loaded up. I'm still not sure what took everybody so long. And so we get loaded up. We go to leave, and about 10 minutes outside of Fob Shank, one of the boys calls a convoy to a stop. And I'm like, what is going on?
Uh-oh.
And I
Yeah.
hear somebody come over the radio, and they say, we lost a popcorn maker. And I was like, excuse me, huh? What? What are you talking about? So apparently there was a popcorn maker, like an old school popcorn maker, like this tall, like upright rectangle of a
Like the
machine.
carnival ones. Let's see at the carnival.
Exactly. It was
Yeah,
an
yeah,
old
yeah.
popcorn maker that was at Fob Shank in one of the hooches. And my boys decided, hey, we should steal that thing. It would go great in the movie room that we built at our combat outpost. And so that's what they were doing. They were
Oh
figuring out
my
how to commandeer
gosh.
this thing in broad daylight. And they got it on the vehicle as quickly as they could because I was like, hey, let's go. We got to go. And so it falls off of the
Okay.
vehicle. And so they call the convoy to a stop. They're getting this thing loaded up, getting it strapped in. And finally, I'm just like, oh, I'll deal with it when we get back to the cop. All right, let's go. So we start moving along Route Georgia again. And about halfway between Fob Shank and Combat Outpost Baraki Barak, where we were going, right at a place where it was the most tactically advantageous for the Taliban to ambush us. They ambushed us.
Yeah, yeah. Kind of figure.
One
Yep.
way in, one way out. And I think that there were about seven or eight vehicles in our convoy with my boys. And in front of our vehicles were two vehicles with a total of eight of our Afghani commandos in the front. And so the Taliban initiated this ambush from the high ground, which was to our right, off the right side of the vehicle. So they had
Okay.
every tactical advantage you can imagine. And they initiated with an RPG round right on the top of the vehicle in front of me, which was vehicle number 2. And that RPG round hit right on the turret, took that 50 cal out immediately.
Oh man.
Fortunately for us, um, this dude must have been the sniper of RPGs, man. I mean, like he nailed it from the
Wow.
high ground, at least 100 yards away. But he loaded the wrong kind of round in that RPG. If he had loaded an AT round, he probably would have smoke checked every dude in that vehicle.
Oh
Glory
wow.
be to God, he did not. But that's how they initiated the ambush, and we were surrounded, and I mean surrounded like 10 to 15 feet away. So when they initiated the ambush, the driver of my vehicle, because I'm sitting in the front too, and my driver very calmly looks over at me and goes, "Hey, Chief, there's 3 guys like right outside of the vehicle in this ditch right here. spraying the vehicle. Um, I wasn't that worried about it because, we have up armored vehicles. I could see that they were shooting. I could literally see them shooting at our vehicle with AK-47s from about 10, 15 feet away. And we were in the vehicles. Where I got really worried was when I heard the door behind me in this vehicle open up, and one of my boys is getting out of the vehicle to engage these three guys. And that's when my heart started to sink. And I knew in my heart that, okay, today is going to be the day where one of my men fall.
Okay.
Today will start the clock on the rest of my life, because I knew in my heart that that wasn't a loss that I could live with. I knew in my heart that, I mean, I love these guys that much. I was their chief. They trusted me. They
Right.
loved me. They would do whatever I told them to do, under fire or at peace. And I knew that if one of them had gotten killed following me, that would probably mark the end of my life as well. I wouldn't survive that. Um, I'm just being honest. I knew there was a high, high, high likelihood that I would take my own life at some point.
Wow.
And so that day sticks out to me more than any other day in my career, probably because that was the most afraid I had ever been in my life. And again, I wasn't afraid for me, I was afraid for my boys. Ultimately, we were able to regain the initiative. We won the fight. We got everybody back to our combat outpost, 100% accountability of our men and our equipment.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
made the Taliban very, very sorry that they initiated that ambush against us.
What did you do with
But
the guy that was opening the door? Did you tell him to get back in?
oh, I was screaming at the top of my lungs, "Get back in the vehicle! Get back!" Because there's a
Okay.
lot more to his actions.
Okay.
And again, I don't want the story to be too long. Ultimately, he ended up zipping those guys up, and we were able to get him back in the vehicle. And again, we won the fight, and we
Okay.
got
Awesome.
home okay.
Okay.
But I immediately called a debrief of my guys and myself and my EOD chief, my bomb tech chief at the time. We sat up, I'm not kidding you, Dave. We sat in front of our entire platoon of meat eating Navy SEALs and bomb technicians. Um, and we cried.
Wow. Yeah.
We explained to them how badly they had scared us. We explained to them that you guys don't get it. Like, and it was myself and I'll say this thing, he's retired now, Chris Bear. I love this dude. And two of my other senior guys, another chief, Joey Taverner, who recently retired, and Joey Brackett, who recently retired. And all of us had a tremendous amount of combat. We had already buried a lot of friends
Yeah.
to that point. And we sat in front of those dudes and we got as vulnerable as you could be. And with tears coming down our eyes, we explained to them how much we miss our friends and
Wow.
how this is war and bullets will kill you. And you have to be smarter than everyone else or you will die. And then we're going to have to see your faces in our dreams for the rest of our lives, knowing that we are responsible for you and we didn't teach you well enough to keep you alive and you die. And I'm going to have to see your face when I go to sleep at night for the rest of my life. I'm going to have to see your mom's face as I'm sitting there with my head down, explaining myself to her with my palms in my lap as to why I didn't bring you home.
Right.
After I promised her that I did, by the
Right.
way, she made me promise before we left that I would bring you home. Because 14 of the 20, no, I'm sorry, a total of 17 of the 22 of us were brand new guys. These guys were on their first deployment,
Oh, wow. Okay.
let
Yeah.
alone their first experience with combat, real
Okay.
combat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think we got the job done. It was a very still, very powerful, very energetic room. And I think that they understood us. And yeah, the boys tightened it back up a lot after that because complacency kills and they were getting a little, full of themselves because
Right.
again, we had
Exactly.
some really big fights. We had been really, really successful. The SOTF was they were super uh, supportive of us because we had been so successful. So some complacency was starting to rise. And fortunately, that talk killed it. And we were all okay. And we had a great second
Wow.
half of the deployment, too. But that day is the day that I think about often because it could have changed the rest of my life. I think about that day all the time. I probably wouldn't be here talking to you right now had it not been for the grace of God that day. I watched miracles happen before my eyes, I think 3 or 4 times in that ambush alone, let alone in my entire career. See, this is why people can't tell me miracles aren't real.
Right.
This is why
Exactly.
people tell me that God isn't real. Because I'm like, no, 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 you don't understand. I have seen it. I have witnessed it with my own 2 eyes. I have been there and I have literally watched God save my friends' lives right before my eyes. I have watched him save my life right before my very eyes. So you can't tell me that he's not real and that what he does for us every day while we're on this planet isn't real. And
Wow.
again, that day sticks out to me more than any other day because I know that that is a day that would have changed my entire life. I could have lost several of my friends that day, and I did it. And God protected us from it, and I will never forget it.
Wow, that's awesome, Ty. Love that story. Love the ending of it, and that you're able to teach something from that, right? So you could save others as well. Because I think a lot of operators they do get big heads, especially if they haven't been in battle, right? It's like, hey, let me go kick some ass and not, kick some doors out and kick some ass, and it's always good to learn from others, right? We were talking a little bit about this is, make sure you always have a mentor, and we'll talk more about your coaching. I think that's something that you always want to do is have somebody. If you don't have someone that's coaching you or helping you in life, you could try to do it on your own, and you may learn 10 or 20 years from now. Ty
Hmm.
and I, before we were having this conversation, we learned a little bit later. So, one of the goals is for us to teach you guys how can you learn now, right?
Right.
Don't make the same mistakes that we made or that others are making. Learn from others. Learn that God is powerful and is going to help you as well. I mean, Ty saw miracles. I've heard of so many miracles happen in the past, and there's a better way to live your life. The bottom line. So thank you for that, Ty. That's incredible. Thanks, brother.
You're
Uh,
welcome.
I was going to ask you so you traveled all over the world or Middle East at least. What was some of the lessons that you learned just by traveling, like big picture compared to
I
just
love that
living?
question. We're all the same. It's like
Yes,
we're different and we're the same at the same time. For the most part, human beings all want the same thing.
right.
We want to be happy. We want our families to be safe and happy. When we want to be able to feed our families, we want our children to be able to walk down the street without having to look over their shoulders. We want less stress. We want peace on earth. Like for the most part, we are all the same. We all want the same thing. I've also learned that when countries do go to war, it is a very small percentage of people that make that decision. And then their families aren't the ones that suffer as a result of that
Exactly.
decision. It's
Exactly.
not their children that actually go and die on the battlefield, but it's their friends and them that make all the money as a result of that
100%.
conflict,
Right.
right? While meanwhile, you've got a Russian guy and a Ukrainian guy on the battlefield killing one another, and they don't know why.
Exactly.
Not really. They
Right.
don't fully understand
They
why.
know they know the story that they were initially told. That's it.
Sure,
Right.
but they don't fully understand why. And guess what? They really don't even like doing that. They don't like being there. Um, they're like, dude, we speak the same language. What the hell are we doing? You know what I mean? But it's not the leaders way up here that told him to go do that that is in that terrifying experience.
Right.
And it's not them that are going to have to suffer as a result of those terrifying experiences for the rest of their lives,
Hmm.
given you're the one that survives that situation. See, for the most part, the people on this planet are all the same. We want the same things. And all of us, including the people that I won't call people evil, even though we know evil exists and some people can be evil, but even the people that are ignorant to what I'm saying right now, we are all connected to one another.
Yes.
And that has been probably the biggest life lesson that I've ever learned. Excuse me. And that is that for the most part, we are all the same and we are all connected. If I do or say something to hurt you, think about it, Dave. If I do, or because I'm a good person, because I love God and I love Jesus and the fact that he died for me, if I allow myself to lose control of my emotions for a few minutes and I do something that hurts you, and then 2 hours later, I'm chilling at home. Now, sure, if I'm a sociopath, I might not ever think about the damage I did to you ever again.
Right.
But because I'm not a sociopath, because I am the father of my son, the son of my father, I'm probably going to be sitting on the couch with my head down, like, man, why did I do that to him? Why did I do that to that person? That's not cool. I
Right.
hurt that person, or I said something that hurt their feelings. Like, that person could be at home sitting on the couch crying right now, thinking about what I said or did to them. Why did I do that? So when it's all said and done, like if I kicked this guy's ass and now he's at home, he is going to heal from that pain a lot faster than I'm going to heal from the pain I inflicted on him
Exactly. 100%.
because we are all connected.
Right.
So if I hurt you, I am hurting myself in the process, and I'm hurting myself more because we are all connected, right? And I think that more than anything, that's what I've learned. And so we as
Yeah.
human beings, we have to learn to live that way.
That's powerful, brother.
I mean, you've got to understand that, hey, the moment I meet Dave, I need to acknowledge the fact that God is in Dave. I'm meeting God. I am meeting a part of God. The kingdom of God is in Dave's heart, and God shines through Dave as long as Dave is allowing him to. And so as I go to meet Dave and shake his hand for the first time, I need to look for God. And I need to make sure that I'm showing Dave God when he shakes my hand with a big smile on my face. Think about what it would be like if you met God. God would probably have this massive smile on his face.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd
Yeah.
probably hug you
Right.
immediately. You know, he'd melt you immediately. Like you would feel like, you know what I'm saying? So that's how we have to live. You know what I mean? Think about how many times you sin and you hurt God's feelings, but he forgives you immediately when
Right.
you ask him to and start showering you with his grace and his provision and his protection immediately. As soon as you ask him for it, regardless of how bad you messed up a few minutes ago. So we have to learn to live that way as one another's, and we have to learn to provide for and protect one another that way in this life. Because really, whether y'all realize it or not, like we're all on the same team. We're all on the same page. And most of us are the same and we want the same things.
That's awesome, man. That's a great observation. And you know what? I love that analogy that we're meeting God, right? How can you treat someone bad if they have God inside of them, right? Whether it's a little bit of that, little bit of God or not. But I think our duty is to, our mission is to teach others to live more for God. And right when you're, excuse me, one second. When you were saying earlier, when we were talking about families united, being all together, right? When you were growing up, I think that evil wants us as a world, a nation, not to be united as well, right? So it's like, you know what? We all need to be united. Remember that we're all the same, right? Love, respect, and help others, right? And it frustrates me too that a lot of brothers have gone to fight battles that were not even true about, like WMDs, right? Right. One
Yeah.
one example, right? And it would be a different story if those leaders would send their kids, their family, right? So I think we should make an approval process. Okay, before you start any war, we got to sign up some of your kids or family members, and then if you think it's good enough, let's all go. If not, let's not do it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So what keeps you motivated and moving forward every day?
I think it's gratitude
Okay.
because when I wake up in the morning, I have to immediately acknowledge, God, you woke me up. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Of everything you got going on today, you have to remember to wake me up.
Right.
Tiny little old me. There's like 8
Right.
billion people cruising around this planet, you remember to wake me up and give me a purpose and a mission. I think it's gratitude, and I think it's love. It's love for my family, for my friends, and I have a plan for them. I am working on building a kingdom for them because that's what was built for me, and I'm trying to walk in His image. So if He built a kingdom for me in heaven when I leave this planet, I got to build a kingdom for my bloodline on this planet while they're here. And a part of that kingdom includes not just financial freedom, but spiritual freedom as well. I want to know for sure before I leave here, I know where they're going when they leave here.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I think for me, it's gratitude, it's love, it's acknowledgement of God's grace in my life.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That. How important is physical fitness and nutrition to you right now to keep your mental sharpness going?
It's everything for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, I've had so many injuries as a result of my military career and a couple of decades of Brazilian jiu-jitsu and competing, at the world stage in that sport. I have so many injuries when I was retiring from the Navy. The orthopedic surgeon at the VA in compensation and pension, after going through both volumes of my medical record, looked at me and said, Senior Chief, if you ever allow yourself to fall out of shape, you're done. Like your body will fall apart.
Oh,
You
wow.
have to stay in shape to basically hold everything together because you've had so many injuries, you've got so much hardware, you got so much titanium in your body now as a result of that. So you have to stay in shape. I think the other reason why it's a massive component of my life is because I've learned the power of balance. I know who I am as a person. I'm the kind of person that if I don't work out, I'll go crazy. Like
Right.
I've got so much energy moving through me on a daily basis. Like I gotta go expend that on doing something very, very hard. I have to go test myself. Or I'm just gonna be sitting around like, man, I can't keep like what's going on. I don't feel right. And so for my mind, I am always going to be that person that's like, no, I got to go test myself. I'm going to go work out. I got to take care of myself. And then lastly, um, I I want to go there? Yeah, I want to go there. Um, Again, I am a king and I am a priest while I'm on this planet. That's what God put me here to be.
Yes.
And unlike the leaders of a lot of our nations, ours included. And by the way, I have nothing against the current leader of our nation. I'm in support of most of everything that President Trump is doing these days, most of it, not all of it. But I am the kind of leader where, hey, I'm going to fight my own battles. Okay. I'm
Mhm.
not going to send my friends to come looking for you in the middle of the night if you do something to hurt somebody in my kingdom. I am coming to look for you in the middle of the night if you do something to hurt someone in my kingdom. I'm not going to send this group of my friends. I'm not going to make calls. Like, no, I am going to show up at your house in the middle of the night so that we can have this conversation as to why you hurt one of my family members or why
Right.
you hurt someone that's within my tribe. And so I think that it is my duty as a man, as a part of being the king and the priest that God has made me on this planet, to always be ready to do king shit. Always. And kings should lead their men into war if that's what it comes down to. And how am I going to do that if I'm out of shape?
Right.
Right. So that's who I am. I'm always going to be that way. I'm not going to send my friends to come find you. I am coming to find you if
Right.
you hurt one of my people. And so for me, I believe in, hey, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Yeah, 100%. And if you don't work out for a month or two, and I had experienced that because I had a surgery and that too long ago, it's like you just feel sluggish, your mind feels sluggish. It's like, man, this is terrible. So, we were given a gift, the body, right, from
Hmm.
God, and it's our duty to make sure we feed it properly, exercise it properly, and praise Him properly with all three, because you need all three. Without all three, you're done. So,
Absolutely. It's our temple. It is the housing for our spirit.
right,
So
100%.
we have to take
Yep,
care of it.
absolutely. And so
And
you
in
mentioned,
doing that, we're actually showing appreciation and gratitude to God, by the
right,
way. If
right.
we take care of the temple that is housing our spirit, that is a way of us acknowledging, Lord God, thank you for giving me this body. I'm going to do my best to take care of it.
100%. And one other thing that I just thought of right now when you were saying that it's a gift that God wakes us up every day, right? And because we have a bigger mission, right? So I just want everybody out there and we're going to ask you about this in 1 second, that may be struggling with PTS or TBI or whatever. It's like your head needs to be in the game now, right? We have a bigger mission now than we had before. That was just a portion of our life, right? And now we have a bigger mission to help others and make sure that we're spreading God's word as well. Uh, so what did you do? Did you do any psychedelics, stem cells for your PTS, TBI, or how did you deal with that time? What was your go-to solution?
I did all of the things.
Okay,
Like you name it, it is a very high likelihood that I tried it. So as I was retiring in 2016, I knew that I was in trouble. I didn't know
right.
how much trouble I was in, but I knew I was in trouble. I could sense it.
Thank
I was
God you
just
were
coming,
aware of it. A lot of people are
you
not aware
know,
of it. A lot of people
I'm
are
so grateful,
right.
right? I was just coming off of two of the most combat kinetic deployments of my entire career. One of those deployments, I lost about 22 friends in the middle of that deployment, 22 of my
Wow.
former SEAL teammates, on in the tragedy of Extortion 17, that
Mhm.
helicopter being shot down
Yes.
in the Tangi Valley of Afghanistan. I was there for that as well. And I had traumatic brain injury. I just didn't know it yet, but I would be later on diagnosed with it. I hadn't slept for at least a couple years. I probably wouldn't sleep for another 2 to 3 years, not really. Um, my sister had just died out of nowhere. My 32-year-old baby sister had just up and left this planet. God decided she was done with her mission here and it's time for her to move on. I had a lot going on. I
Wow.
was stressed out. I was in graduate school doing my MBA at USC. I was building my first business. Like I had a tremendous amount going on. And so I knew that I needed help. And fortunately, I at one night I had no choice but to ask for that help because I knew that if I didn't, I was going to take my life that night.
Okay.
And fortunately, I was able to get the help that I needed, or at least it put me on the path to go and find the help that I needed. And fortunately, that's what I did. But once I started down that path, like I really opened my mind. I was like, no, no, I'm going to try everything. You're recommending this? Like, yep, I'm going to try it. So
Good
you
idea.
name
Good idea. Yeah.
stem cell treatment, acupuncture, um, hot therapy, cold therapy, sound therapy, um, breathing exercises, prayer and meditation. And a lot of this, I still do it to this day
Okay.
just because it worked and it still works and it makes me feel so good, like prayer and meditation, right? And cold plunging and meditating in the sauna. I still do a lot of this, but I started down that path of like, no, I'm gonna try everything. Floating, in sensory deprivation tanks. I have done it all. And I think that's a part of the key that I want to give to our brothers and sisters that are transitioning from the military is like, hey, you got to open your mind. You have to accept the fact that you are now different, especially if
Right.
you're a combat veteran. You are not normal anymore, which step back, define normal. Yeah, good luck with that. Step back forward to where we are right now. It is okay to not be normal anymore. You're exactly who God created you to be. You went through those things because God wanted you to. What did you learn from them? Fast forward, how does it make you better in the future? Accept all of that. You went through it for a reason. How does it make you better in the future? Take matters into your own hands, open up your mind, and go out and start working on the things that you need to work on to heal yourself. I did transcranial magnetic stimulation for the brain.
Oh
I did a
wow.
6 clinic on that. I did the 6 month traumatic brain injury clinic at Naval Hospital Balboa right before I retired. I mean, I have been doing all the things. I've been working with a therapist for what, almost 10 years. Um, in fact, she did the math for me a couple months ago. And she's like, Ty, you paid me about $30,000 out of your own pocket. Once
Wow.
the community stopped paying me and you started paying me out of your own pocket just over the last several years, you paid me about 27 and a half, $28,000 to keep treating yourself, right? Because I'm taking this seriously. I have a tribe that I must live and thrive for, or else how am I going to build them a kingdom, right? Um, my daughters are princesses.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Child of
not
God.
because,
Yep.
yeah, not because their husband, is a prince, but because their father is a king,
Right.
because he is the son of a king,
Right.
right? So I have to continue to build for them. If I don't get ahead of this stuff on my own, how am I going to do that for them? If you don't get ahead of this for yourself, how are you going to do that for your tribe and for your kingdom? And so I think that veterans have to acknowledge that, like, hey, okay, not normal anymore. Check. That's okay. But what can I do to get back to at least as close as I can to a sense of normalcy so that I can be a good example for my tribe,
Wow. Yeah.
right? For the men out there, for the alpha men out there that are especially coming out of the special operations community. What can I do to put my heart and my mind back in a place where it is possible for me to sit down with my teenage son and be his friend and his trusted advisor instead of his freaking RDC and boot camp,
Right.
instead
Exactly.
of being
Yep.
his drill instructor.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? How can I get back over here to where this is the kind of relationship I'm going to have with him versus this is the kind of relationship or lack thereof that I'm going to have with him? You owe it to your tribe to try all of the things and to never
Wow.
stop trying those things, so that at least for me, I feel like it led me to that ultimate realization of, hey, man, God was always with you. He never left you. Like you may have turned to the left and started going this way away from him because you were in your feelings, because you were sad, because you're scared, because you were angry, or what, or all of the things. But he never turned and went that way and said, okay, well, fine. He stayed there and watched you the whole time. And the moment that he was like, okay, that's far enough because you're my son, I'm not going to let you fall flat on your face, turn around and look at me. He was still standing there with his arms open, going, are you ready to come home?
Right.
Right. And then you run to your father and you go home, which is what I did. And I think that all of those experiences and going through all of those treatments, it led me back to where I am now. When it was December, I went down to Mexico with the VETS program that's owned and run by my good friends Marcus and Amber Capone. Marcus is another retired SEAL, extremely talented human being, not just an operator, but an extremely talented human being. Also, a USC MBA, fight on, bro.
Nice.
Um, and my experience going through that 5 day psychedelic journey and coming out of it was nothing short of cosmic. Nothing short of cosmic. Because before I did that, this was just in December, Dave, so not even a year
Oh, no
ago.
way. Just recently.
Yeah,
Wow.
this was just recently,
Holy
not even a
cow.
year ago.
Wow.
And so, and that's of note because remember, I did all this other stuff before. And about a year and a half, I think about a year and a half before I went down to Mexico and did that psychedelic journey, everything in my life changed. I woke up one morning and I knew that life was never going to be the same again. And I'm not like, I will spare you this long story, but you got to trust me on it. I knew that
Okay.
everything had changed from the micro level of me sitting up and going, hey, something doesn't feel right, all the way out to the macro level, zoomed out, and me realizing that day What do you mean my favorite color is blue? Blue's not my favorite color. Blue's been your favorite color your whole life, Ty. No, you're wrong. Green is my favorite color. I know it. It's irrevocable. I don't know what you're talking about, old self. Like
Wow.
overnight,
Wow.
my favorite color changed. And then when I walked outside and I saw green and trees and plants, I was seeing something completely different than I had ever seen prior to that day.
Holy
And it
cow.
was like God woke me up one morning and said, "Hey, man, we need to talk. Everything is about to change. You're about to go through some stuff like you don't even know the darkness that is ahead of you, but I need you to know that I am right there with you. Like I've
Wow.
always been, right? So you're not going to get in your feelings this time and go this way. Like you're going to know I'm there with you." And that was the day that I started doing the deep prayer and meditation. I started doing hot cold therapy. I did this spiritual dive into this journey about a year and a half before I went on the psychedelic journey. And as a result of that, when I experienced that journey that week, of course, I'd heard a bunch of stories of other people doing it and what their experiences were like. And I'd done all of the pre sessions that you do with the coaching, and I'd done all the reading they told me to do. I'd watched documentaries on ibogaine and 5-MeO DMT. I did all the research, right? I'm still an academic. I'm a researcher, and so I did it. But I was still far enough in the journey to know to tell myself, yes, okay, you got all that research. Okay, now put it over here before you go down there, and just go down there with a completely open mind without expecting anything. And
Right.
fortunately, that's what I did. And so the short of it is that when I experienced the both the ibogaine and the 5-MeO DMT, sure, I went on a journey. Absolutely, I was on a journey just like everybody else. It was like I was halfway between this world and heaven, right? And I was
Right.
just at this place where I was kind of floating and seeing and sensing and hearing and feeling everything. But I didn't I didn't go anywhere. I didn't have this blast off. I didn't have these visions. I wasn't visited by ancestors and all that. I just kept hearing um, a message that I have to assume was coming from God in my own voice, of course, because it's in my head. But I just kept hearing a message of, "You're already there. No,
Wow.
you're not going anywhere. You're already there. Don't
Okay.
you remember, son? I woke you up about a year and a half ago and started preparing you
Wow.
for what was
Okay.
ahead of you. You're already there,
Wow.
even coming out of it." And so that's what I experienced during the Ibogaine. That's what I experienced doing the short 5 to 7 minutes of 5-MeO DMT was just God's love, His grace, His provision, His protection, and Him telling me and reminding me, "Hey, all is well, man. Everything is, it's not even that everything is going to be okay. Everything already is okay. You are already there. Whatever you are dealing with, I am there with you, and you are dealing with that for a reason. Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. There is always two sides to every story. There is always duality. It's a part of my program that I wrote for all of you. You have men, you have women, you have light, you have darkness, you have good, you have bad, you have up, you have down, you have yin, you have yang.
Yeah.
There's duality in everything and every one of you. You've got life and you've got death,
Wow.
right? So it is your choice where you focus. And newsflash, wherever you focus, that's where you're going,
Right.
right? You want to focus on negative, you're going to go the negative route. You want to focus on positive, you're going to go to the positive route. But because you have done the work and you've been focusing on the positive route, even though you've been going through what kind of felt really uncomfortable and a little hellish over the last year or so, you've arrived. You are already there.
Wow.
And I am not kidding you. I cannot make this story up. As we were loaded up in the vans and leaving, because I fast forwarded through a whole bunch of stuff as they're getting ready to transport us from Mexico back up across the border back into San Diego. Um, throughout most of that time, they take your phones, they take your electronics. They don't want you communicating with nobody, especially while you're in the medicine for obvious reasons. And they don't want you diving into the stress of emails and work and all this other stuff anyway. They're trying to calm your central nervous
Exactly.
system,
Yeah.
not keep it jacked up. And so when I got my phone back, I'm in the van, and in my head, I'm like, well, let me see what's going on in email. Let me catch up with ComSafe. What kind of stress is waiting for me? And I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to look at it. And then I go, let me just skim the top of email. So I turn my phone on. I go into my email, and immediately, first email at the top. I don't even have to click the email, Dave. I'm reading the subject, and my stress tries to go through the roof,
Okay.
right? And it was like that was a test for me. And
Interesting.
immediately I went, no, not focusing there, off, turn the phone back off, right? As I was trying to turn the phone off, a text message comes up on the screen
Okay.
as I'm trying to turn the phone off. And by the way, the subject of the email, of course, is connected to money. That's
Right.
It's a business. It's always got something to do with money. Stress starts going through the roof. I was like, nope, I don't want this. I try to turn my phone off. As I'm trying to turn the phone off, I get a text message from an investor that I hadn't heard from. He kind of like ghosted me 3 weeks prior. And
Okay.
I got this text message out of the blue. He's literally texting me right now. It wasn't that I turned the phone on and now all of a sudden the text messages are catching up. No, within that 60-second period that my phone was on, he was texting me.
Holy moly. Wow.
And he was, hey, bro, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to vanish. I had some stuff going on in the business. But anyway, long story short, I actually already just wired the money to y'all's account. I've signed the documentation. I'm investing in the business
Wow.
just like that. And all I could do was smile at the phone and acknowledge God's presence, turn the phone off. And I just looked out of the window and smiled all the way back to San Diego.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. Things happen for a reason, right? Everything happens for a
Absolutely.
reason. And you're probably one of the only operators I ever talked to that's tried so many, what's the word I want to talk to him? What's the word I'm looking for? Therapies per se?
Sure.
Therapies?
Yeah.
And that's crazy. So for the people that can afford to do all these things, right? Because some of these cost money, some of them don't.
Right.
What's some of the top ones you recommend, and then what's the best one you recommend? What's the best thing?
The very best one I could recommend, and here's what's great about it. It's absolutely free. The only thing it costs you is your time, and your time was given to you by the Father, and so it's a blessing when you decide to give your time back to Him.
There you go.
Prayer and meditation have been the biggest help that I don't even have the words for it, Dave. And when you think about it, it makes total sense. When Jesus was struggling, what did He do? Hey, y'all, I love y'all, but I'll be back.
I'll be
When
back.
I
Yep.
don't know when I'll be back, but I'll be back. I'm going
Right.
up on that mountain.
Yep.
Don't nobody come up there and bother me. I'm going up there to be with my Father. I'm gonna go pray. Like, no, 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 I don't need food. I'm fine. No, I don't need water. All I need is time with my Father.
Right.
That's it. I'm going up on the mountain to pray. Well, so you're gonna fast for that for how long are you gonna be up there? I don't know. I could be up there 2 weeks. I could be up there 40 days. You don't need food or water? No, you're not listening to me. All I need is time and fellowship with my Father. I'm going up on that mountain. Don't nobody bother me. Prayer and meditation has been the biggest help of everything that I have done. And the more I do it, the more I'm able, the better I get at it, right? And I don't think we're ever going to be perfect, but it's the effort, it's the desire of like, no, I just want to be alone and have a conversation with my creator. Uh, Something else that is extremely helpful to me, believe it or not, is it's heat, and extreme cold. So
Okay.
I love meditating and praying while I'm in the sauna,
Okay.
and I love attempting. I say attempting to meditate when I'm in the cold plunge
Oh man.
because
Yeah.
like if you can maintain that presence in your heart and controlling your breathing while you're hurting, in that water that's anywhere from 39 to 49 degrees, like that's really cold. Like that takes a lot.
That's a big
So
mindset. Yeah, for sure.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, so that makes my body feel better, and it also makes my spirit feel better. Um, is there anything else that well, and more than anything, especially if you're a combat veteran and if you're not sleeping well, you have to fix that. You have to fix that,
Right.
and you have to fix it right now because sleep affects everything, everything, and that sleep is when you grow. So if you're not sleeping good at night, you have to find ways to fix that. And that's what I had to do. I had to learn how to sleep again. And once I was able to get control of my sleep, it allowed me to go on and get control of everything else.
Yeah, it's amazing if you sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. You're not running efficient, right? It's kind of like your battery is running low on your cell phone, right? You're operating
Uh-huh.
at 30-40%. What kind of results are you going to get with that? It's not going to work out really well. So how many hours of a night do you sleep now, Ty?
So I try to get 8 to 9 hours
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now
every
too.
night
Yeah.
because I'm a CEO. I run businesses. So I have to treat myself as though I'm a tier one athlete. I'm a tier one operator. I
Right.
must take care of myself. If I go down and become a casualty to stress, I don't do myself, my tribe, my kingdom, my business. I don't do any of it any good. I am at the center of all of that. And so I have to make sure that I stay healthy. And so I read an article a very long time ago about founders and CEOs that recommended, hey, you actually need to be getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep in order to make sure that your brain is recovering and you're keeping your central nervous system regulated. So I try to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. That is what I teach my coaching clients, especially the ones that are founders or executives at really big companies. Hey, man, no, not 6 to 8 hours. You need to be trying to get 8 to 9 hours. Do what you got to do, figure it out. But this is how much sleep you need to be getting. And this is what you need to be doing before sleep as you're winding down and preparing your body and your brain for sleep.
Right. Yeah. About 20 years ago, I thought I just needed 4 or 5 hours, so I was operating deficiently every day, right? And just recently, probably the last 2 or 3 years, it's like, I need to get eight hours at minimum, which is great. And it's a big result. Big result. You think clearer. You're not as tired during the day, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
great. So I think I need to add that to my when I'm talking to people about spiritual, mental, and physical sleep. I need to start adding that on there. So thank you for
That's
that.
right.
So we spoke a lot about God, right? It seems like that changed your life a lot, even when you were at the psychedelics with Marcus. He said you're already there, which is awesome, right? Uh, what do you do daily, and what could other people do daily to start getting God in their life a little bit more, or more a priority, making God a priority per se?
Start talking to him. Like, hey, listen, whether you are a believer or not, and if you're not, like, I don't even know you, but I'm praying for you right
Right.
now. But whether you are a believer or not, man, like, at least try to acknowledge, seriously, like, ask your ego to go stand in the corner so that just you can actually consider what I'm saying right now. Even if you're not a believer that God is actively working in your life, you must get to the point where you believe God exists. Okay? And there is so much data out there to support that God exists. You really have no excuse. Um, like, how can I say this clearly and concisely? For every action, there is a reaction,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So if I go in the backyard right now and I take a seed and I plant it in the ground in fertile soil and I water it, it grows. That is life. I helped to create some life by doing that. Well, if we go all the way back to the first human being, whether you believe in Adam and Eve or not, your common sense should tell you, well, somebody was first,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, how did they get here? This theory of evolution and the Big Bang. Like, no, it doesn't answer for that. I
Right.
don't care how smart you think you are. Like, show me the math that results in blah, blah, carry over the four. And now there was a baby laying on the ground that came from nowhere and they turned into an adult. And then some kind of way, there was another baby that appeared. And this one was a woman and it came up. And then they started, the creation of man. It's like, give me a break. Okay.
Right.
Seriously, you're smarter than that. So even if you're not going to be a believer that God is actively working in your life and there's a spiritual battle happening for your soul right now, at least be open minded and mature enough to acknowledge that there is someone that's in charge of all of this. All of this came from somewhere, it was created by someone. And if that is the case, and you can accept that, why not talk to that person? Why not talk to whoever that is? Whether it's a man, it's a woman, it's a spirit, it's an energy, whatever you choose to acknowledge as God's presence, why not talk to him? Why not? Right. And by the way, I believe God is a him because that's what the Bible says.
Right.
Um, but why not talk to him? Why not? I heard one of the most fascinating things I have ever heard in my life, in my entire life. And I was talking to you before we started about my learnings from people like Alex Hormozy and Myron Golden. Um, I love Myron Golden because he spends a tremendous amount of time talking about God in business,
Oh, wow. I'm
right?
gonna look him up right
And
after we're
making
done.
money. You have to look up
Yeah.
Myron Golden. And someone had asked him, "Hey, what is your favorite verse in all the Bible?" And he goes, "It's Genesis 1:1. It's the first verse of the first book of the good book."
Right.
Why? And then he breaks down the verse and what it actually means. What
Nice.
it actually means. And if you listen to him explain to you what that verse actually means, right, you will understand why Jesus is God. You will understand that, oh my gosh, the creator God was really talking about Jesus in his first verse of the Bible thousands of years before, in the story, before Jesus is even going to walk the planet. That's how smart God was. That's how perfect his creation was. He's
Right.
like, no, like someday y'all are going to decipher this, but I'm going to talk about him in the very first line of this story, of this book.
Wow. That's
And I'm
amazing.
going to lead you there. Right. So for me, I think that it all comes down to, hey, you gotta be willing to have some kind of relationship with the idea that someone created you, that you didn't come from anywhere. And if you're going to acknowledge that, well, actually pursue that relationship. Talk to your creator. You don't have to know who your creator is. You don't have to understand who he is and why he is this way. No, you just have to acknowledge him. And if you acknowledge that, hey, there's something bigger and better than me that created me, well, then why not try to have a conversation? Just start there.
Right.
Whether you're doing it in prayer, whether you're doing it out loud, whether you're voicing your frustrations, it doesn't matter. Acknowledge the fact that you have a creator and talk to him as much as humanly possible and see how it starts to change your life.
That's awesome. Yeah, we spoke about this before we started as well. That not a coincidence that many people are starting to wake up and see God. Famous podcasters.
Yep.
I've had some guests on here before. A recent one that was on a TV show, and I had watched one of his podcasts. He wasn't, but now he is a believer as
Hmm.
well. So it seems like we were talking about earlier. Try to learn from the older guys, right? That have been down this walk already, and and a lot of people are doing the same thing. Get close to God, make it a personal relationship with Him, right? I think everyone, even if they may not be a strong believer, they know that something's inside of them that's part of that, and then basically it's God's light. It's God's inside of you, like Ty was saying earlier. Learn to develop that, learn to tune into him daily, right? And start having that relationship with him and see how it could change your life. If it's changed so many people's lives in the past, guess what? you're not really much different than everybody else, and it could help you and save you down the road as well, which is great, especially for eternity,
Absolutely.
especially for
That's right. Yes.
eternity,
And
right?
read the Bible. That would be something else I would tell our brothers and sisters is whether you think you believe or not, start reading the Bible. And I mean, really read it. Try to understand. Even if you're not going to consider yourself to be religious or spiritual, I am telling you right now that book is our instruction manual for our time on this planet. At the very least, what you learn from it is how to carry yourself within good vibes, good frequency, good energy, so
Right.
that good things naturally come to you in life. Like I'm done chasing. I'm not chasing nothing else I want. I am attracting what I want into my life by having a good attitude, by being in close relationship and fellowship and partnership with my creator. He already knows what I want anyway. So he's going to tell me in my head what I need to do my part to make it happen. And he's going to do the rest. So I don't have to chase it. I'm attracting it. It is coming to me, right? But I do that by having that relationship and by learning how to keep my individual frequency and vibration as high as possible so that I'm in alignment with God's will for me. At the very least, you're going to gain that from reading the instruction manual of our lives. That is the Bible. There are
Love it.
so many answers in there as to why things are the way that they are today in modern society and where we're going as a result of all of this. So pray, meditate, read the Bible, whether you're a believer or not. Like, we're not stupid. We know you got questions. We know you're just as scared as everybody else,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
I think that you should pray, you should meditate, you should read the Bible. You'd be surprised how fast that fear goes away.
That's
I'm
true.
not afraid of nothing anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of stuff going wrong. I'm not afraid of something bad happening to someone that I care about because I realize I have no control of it and there's someone that's in charge. And if that happens, it happens for a reason. And I have nothing to fear. I know where they're going after they leave here. Why would I be afraid? Why would I be stressed out over something that I already know is being attracted toward me because of my relationship with my father? Of course, I deserve the inheritance of a king. Of course. So, of course, it's coming to me, whether I like it or not, whether anybody likes it or not, because my father is a king.
There you go. Yeah.
And I deserve that inheritance that he already had written for me before I got here.
Right.
Start reading the good book and see what it does to your life. See what happens to that fear that is in your heart.
And I and I do that daily as well, Ty. Changed my life, and I'm not afraid of anything, and it's giving me more peace than I've ever had in my life. Peace,
Absolutely.
which is great. So thank you. Ty, tell us a little bit about your business. You've been pretty successful with business. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing, and then I'm going to ask you about what advice you give others to succeed.
Sure. So currently, I am still running ComSafe AI, a venture
Okay.
capital backed generative artificial intelligence company. Again, we are in an M&A transaction. Whether this is going to be the one that gets us acquired or not, who knows? I'm going to focus on God's will for me is good, no matter what happens. But ComSafe is a generative AI platform that large enterprises can put on top of their email channels and their chat channels and use it to score that communication data 24/7 and alert them of risk that they define in real time. So whether it's prospective revenue churn or sexual harassment or bullying or a decline in the overall sentiment of the employees aren't happy, employee engagement, whatever risk they define, they can train the model around that risk and it can tell them of that risk when it's happening in real time so they can actually do something about it.
Nice.
I am also spending a good amount of time currently running Hero Consulting, which is an executive coaching and lifestyle coaching business where I focus on leadership and lifestyle with my clients. And I work with professional athletes, I work with CEOs of middle market businesses, executives at large enterprises. And for me, I tell my clients that I can't be your executive coach without coaching your lifestyle as well. Because when it comes down to it, I can help you to build any house. If we can envision that house down to a nuanced level, we're going to know, we're going to draw it out, we're going to color, we're going to write it out to a nuanced level. If we can envision it, I can help build the concept of operations that gets you from A to that dream. So I can help you to build any house. But if we build it on a faulty foundation, eventually that house is going to fall.
That's
Might not
true.
be the storm tomorrow or 5 years from now, but eventually it will fall. But if I help you build it on a foundation that is a proper foundation, a foundation that you and I have been alluding to this whole call, and we can bring those together with your dreams, my friend, that house is never, ever going to fall. Not ever. And so, for the most part, I spend time teaching my coaching clients to believe in themselves and to have the confidence in themselves to go out and achieve their wildest dreams. And I get them to understand that, of course, it's possible because the dream is in your heart, right? Yes. Okay. Where do you think that dream came from? Who do you think wrote that dream on your heart?
Right.
Oh, snap. It was God, right? So if God wrote that dream on your heart, what does that mean? It is already done.
That's
So why
true.
are you chasing? You don't have to chase nothing. You have to open yourself up to God's will and attract that dream to you, and you will see it come to fruition. Sure, you still got to do the work with your hands, right?
Hmm.
Because faith without works is dead. But it is all. Why don't you believe in it right now? You should know that it's already coming to you. And I'm also doing leadership development workshops, team building workshops for large enterprises by way of Hero Consulting. But I started Hero because, again, God told me that I have entered the season of my life in which I'm going to go out and not just be a king, but I am to be a priest for Him. I'm to be a teacher and show people that, hey, look at what God's done for me. No, you don't understand. Like, you have no idea. I have gone through the literal fire,
Right.
right? You don't
Yeah.
understand the things I've survived, the things I've seen, like how many of my friends I've seen be chewed up by other men. You don't understand what I've survived, but I didn't do it on my own, right? I got here with help. And I'm telling you right now that that help is out there and it is waiting for you too. And so I think that, again, this is the season where God's saying, I bless you with affluence so you can go out and influence others on my behalf because things are changing right now, the seen and the unseen. This planet is changing, and I hope all of you keep up with it because I want you to come home, but not everybody is going to keep up. Not everybody is going to accept the gift that my son gave to them,
Right.
right? Also, what I'm doing is keynote speaking engagements. Again, I want to
Okay.
do this on. I'm doing this on a much larger scale because I want to affect the lives of as many people as I can. And honestly, I've been focusing on men because I think that men have been through a lot, especially in the United States of America and over the last 4 to 6 years. I think men and masculinity in general has gone through a lot and a lot of changes. And I think a lot of those changes have been changes for the worse. And
Right.
so I have taken it upon myself to be someone that goes out and teaches men how to be modern day strong men, not toxic males, but real leaders, a man that is worthy of the title of leader, a man that not just worthy in his own eyes, but worthy in the eyes of his woman, worthy in the eyes of his children, his family, his tribe, his community, worthy of the community looking at him and saying, that is leader right there, right? Not because you go out and say that you are, but because that's what the world sees when they see
Right.
you.
Exactly. Right.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
was one of the things that I had to learn when I was transitioning out of the military, Dave. I don't know if you experienced this, but people walk up to me knowing what I did in the military and go, "You're a hero."
Yeah.
And for so long, I would go, "No, no, no, I don't say that. I'm not a hero. Like, no, I was just doing my
Just
job and
doing my
blah, blah,
job.
blah,
Yep.
blah." But this is what I've come to realize, Dave. Who am I to turn that blessing away? There's God in that person, right?
Right.
And they're walking up to me and they're telling me what they see when they look at me. Who am I to say, no, you're wrong,
Right. Exactly. Yep.
right? For me, I think that is the better thing to do is to understand that, okay, well, in that case, I think there's a little bit of hero in all of us because we all go through stuff. We all sacrifice so that, for the greater good of others at some point in our lives. So I'm not going to take that and get big headed and arrogant because I'm like, hey, I'm a hero. I'm thank you so much for acknowledging what's in my past and things that I've gone through and what I've sacrificed. But in my mind and my heart, I got to acknowledge that you're a hero too, right? Because you've been through some stuff too, right? You've
Yeah.
had your heart broken before. You've been through divorce. You lost a job that you stayed up at night worried about how you were going to provide for your family. There's different levels to stuff, but make no mistake, there's some hero in you too. And
100%.
so that's what I try to get people to understand, but at mass, and especially when it comes to men and how to be a modern day strong man. And then lastly, I'm doing a lot of writing on all of the above
Oh, wow.
these days. So I'm in the middle of writing my autobiography
Okay.
right now, which for years people have told me that that's the story that needs to be told. Well, I'm doing it. I'm also putting together a manuscript on how to be a modern day strongman. I'm getting ready to
Nice.
film a master class on that by way of Hero Consulting. And so again, I'm trying to, this is my purpose right now. I'm trying to live within it and helping other people and bringing leadership back into the hearts of men because I that's what the word tells us. The man is the leader of the household, and this is why he is the leader of the household. And the man is supposed to lead his family, his tribe, his kingdom to a relationship with God. A woman is not supposed to do that. Oh, I don't even know if it's a possible, like really, really possible that a woman can do it
Right.
because the word tells us that it's the man's responsibility. But again, I don't know. I'm just human. But this is what the word tells us. And so I think it's the man's responsibility. And again, the devil is trying to destroy the family and take the man and the leader out of the family to make people individuals so that he can actually get access to them. See, the devil
100%.
can't get access to a person that is in a tribe where the tribe has a solid connection with the creator because the leader of the tribe has a solid connection with the creator and he is making it known that that is the source of his power, not the gold, not the money, not the degrees, not no, that is the source of my power, right? And when everyone else develops that feeling, that sense, that belief, that personality. It's just like when I was in the SEAL teams and I would teach my boys that, hey, eventually the entire platoon will develop the personality of the platoon's leadership.
Right.
So if the
That's true.
platoon chief and the officer in charge, if they're rascals, they're cowboys, if they're lacking in military bearing, eventually the entire group will behave that way,
Right. 100.
right?
Yep.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm really focusing a lot of my efforts right now on men and helping them to become the leaders that the world needs them to be. Because whatever is going on, it's speeding up. And whether that means 5 years from now, things change according to the word of God, or 50 years from now, I don't know. I just know that we need to be ready. And so that's what I'm out doing right now.
That's awesome, Ty. That's incredible. I wish you would do a little bit more. I'm only kidding. And what's the websites? And I'll post them on the podcast as well after we're done here. What's your website so
Yeah,
people can connect with you?
absolutely. So check me out at Hero Consulting website, www.wearehero.com. And that's hero with an I. So HIRO.
Okay.
Pretty soon, I will reblast the ComSafe website by way of my following through Hero right now. The ComSafe website is in stealth because we're doing something behind the scenes. Again, we're in
Got
an
it.
M&A transaction. We got a lot going on, but in the event that I turn that back on, in the event that we don't get acquired and we're going to keep going, I'll turn it back on. So right now, check me out at the Hero Consulting website. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I'm dripping this type of content into Instagram and LinkedIn all day, every day. You can find me on IG at Coach Ty Smith. And on LinkedIn, you can find me at ty.smith/31. But again, I talk about this stuff often, all day, because this is what I'm believing. This is what I'm living. And I think that this is my purpose during this season in my life.
Thank you. Thank you. Love it. Ty, if you were 20 years old today, what path would you take, or what would you tell others if they're 20 today?
Wow, that is a great question.
Obviously, with the knowledge
Um,
you have now, right? Because
well, yeah, and I will try to go as quickly as I can and not take up too much time. But one of the reasons why I'm super excited that you just asked me that question is because, like I said, I am in the process of writing my autobiography. And as a part of writing that autobiography, there are three chapters in which I am writing a letter to myself,
oh wow,
to
okay,
the younger version of myself. And so I just pulled up the chapter that I wrote a few weeks ago, which is titled A Letter to My 20-Year-Old Self.
oh there, look at that, awesome.
And so I'll just read you a little bit of the chapter so that you know exactly how I answered that question. And it goes like this. My young friend, you are so full of light and you don't even know it yet. After spending the first 18 years of your life in near total darkness, the enemy has tricked you into thinking that you are small and insignificant. But I am here to tell you that that just isn't true. You are full of light, and God wants you to be a light worker during your time on this planet. You will be a person that spreads light and truth into this world. You may not see it yet, but the world is on the verge of getting a lot darker. We've been talking about the changes that we are sensing and seeing and feeling, Dave. The devil's hands are extremely busy, and they are about to get even busier as he realizes his reign on this earth is soon coming to an end. But you're a man now. The U.S. Navy is going to do good by you. Enjoy the time that you're spending in Europe. It's truly a special time for you, and it will set the pace for the rest of your life. The friends that you meet in Italy will become some of the best friends you've ever had in your life. Learn to cherish people. And in preparation for the changes that are coming, I want you to watch less TV. Again, what are we putting in our brains?
Yeah,
And I want you to read more. Spend more time focusing in the presence. See, I don't think the story matters, Dave. Like the past, what's behind us, we can't I can never affect that. I can't go
right,
back and change it. I can no matter what. So it kind of really doesn't matter. The story doesn't matter. What I do right now in the present moment matters. I don't even know if I'm going to live to see the next 10 minutes. There could be
right.
somebody running here right now with a gun and chop me in half. I don't know. So right now matters. My friend, I want you to spend more time in prayer. Spend more time seeking God. He is your rock and your refuge. And very soon, he will be protecting you from very capable enemies, seen and unseen, and at a level in which you have never dreamed. He will be protecting you from violence at a level in which you have never experienced. And for what is in front of you, trust me, you are going to need his provision and his protection. See, when I was 20 years old, I was still about a year and a half, 2 years ahead of the global war and terror starting and me becoming a Navy SEAL. So if, to cut it short and not read the entire chapter, if there is a message that I could deliver to my 20-year-old self, it's, hey, man, start seeking your relationship with God right now. Start leaning on that relationship. I don't care how hard it gets. I don't care how dark it gets. Do not forget that he is right there with you. Even when you feel like your heart is being pulled this way because you're just hurt and you're angry and you're confused as to why you're seeing these things and experiencing these things and why human beings are doing these things to one another and why did that have to happen to that little girl and like I know that it hurts, but just trust me on this one. You're not alone. It is going to be okay. And I need you to be the shepherd that makes sure that everyone else knows that too,
All right,
right?
yep.
So zoom out and start thinking at a much more strategic level, even at the ripe young age of 20 years old.
No, I love it. I'm gonna make sure I get your book as soon as it comes out. It sounds incredible already. But yeah, I think I think people need to dive more into God, right? Like I said this earlier, right? The older guys are telling you, we wish we would have done it before. Ty saying it to himself. There's something to that. I mean, Ty saw it in combat, people saved and miracles in front of him, right? David from the Bible saw it going up on one of the biggest enemies ever, right? A big giant,
Like literally.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I got a big giant in front of you. So we all have our giants, right? But guess what?
Yeah.
We don't need to be scared about the giants. We have the answer right in front of us, which Ty was talking about, which is great. Ty, for people that are stuck and not know what to do with their career, whether they're just civilians or just getting out of the military, what would you recommend for them?
Find what sets your heart on fire.
Yeah,
Seriously, I don't care what your job was in the military. Maybe you didn't get the opportunity to do something that made you feel like your heart was on fire. And actually, if you were, you probably wouldn't be getting out of the military.
right.
Try to find what your purpose is. Know yourself better than anyone can know you. Know what God wants you to know about you. Find your purpose. And whatever it is, try to build a career around doing that thing. What sets your heart on fire? Just like you see that I've gotten to a point in my life where it's like, hey, I am an executive coach and a lifestyle coach because seeing other human beings do great and have a great relationship with the Father in heaven sets my heart on fire. I just happen to get compensated for it, but it's something that I gladly do for free. In fact, I have been doing it for free. I just didn't build a business around it, right? So find what your purpose is so that you can build a career around doing what sets your heart on fire and you'll never work a day in your life.
That's true. Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, a lot of people that are young, it's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do, but dig deep because there's something that you love, you know, which is awesome.
That's right.
Uh, but we're about to wrap up here. Just wanted to finally, probably the final question is here. What do you want the one thing for listeners to remember, either about you or just in general?
Well, when it comes down to it, again, it's not about me, right? So
Yep.
what I want them to remember is that for themselves. Hey, it's not about me.
Right.
What can I do for someone else? Lord God, how can I help someone grow today? How can I help someone today? It's not about me. It is about the people that are around me. It is about me showing them God through me and me seeing God through them, and then us living that way, right? What can I do to help other people? How much can I give of myself and of what I have in order to help other people? And again, in that vein, you don't chase what you want, you attract what you want. The more you give of yourself, the more you give of what you have, the more you will receive. The more the universe and God will provide to you. The more of your money you give away, the more money you're going to make. That's crazy, right? No,
Right.
it's cosmic because that's the way that God designed things. So if I had to leave people with a message, it would be that it's not about you. It's about the people that are around you. Focus on them. Have
Awesome.
goodwill and hope in your heart for them and do for them. Know that you're connected to them, whether you're related to them or not, whether you've ever met that person before or not. Know that it's not about you.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And remember, we're all heroes. That was great. Love that.
That is right. In my opinion, we are all heroes. Absolutely.
All right, brother. Ty, it's been an absolute honor having you on today. I'm glad to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for your sacrifice, your leadership, and your example. You're giving a great example
Thank
to
you.
everyone out there. And you didn't just serve; you continue to serve by standing and helping others. And any other closing words for you before I close out with the audience?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show today, Dave. I really appreciate it. I appreciate it. I love you for it. I love everyone. I hope that everyone learns from this message that it is their responsibility to learn everyone as well. And reach out to me anytime on LinkedIn, on Instagram. I love communicating with people. I love hearing about your experiences and sharing mine with you. So if there's anything that I can do to help you, feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you. Love you too, brother. For our audience tuning in, share, follow, and subscribe. These stories need to be heard. These lessons can be change lives. Stay focused, stay winning. God bless you. And thank you for listening and following.